Hi everyone, it's Leslie Oman from Hungry Heffy Crafts and welcome to another video tutorial. I admit this card is a little bit different to most of the other ones that I normally do because on this one the cat is not a stamp, it is in fact something that I drew myself. I'm calling this card Cat's Goodbye Kitty Cat because a girl at work, Cat, who loves cats and who has a cat, was leaving us to move on to pastures new. So I wanted to make a completely bespoke card, so I took some watercolor cardstock and sketched out a cat using a mechanical pencil. I knew that I wanted to use some watercolors because this was at a time when I just got my set of Karitake Kansai Tambi Kansai watercolors, and it was really an excuse to experiment. So I sketched out a cat. I edited two, you'll see in a second, and I'm going to actually ink over the top using the black Winsor & Newton ink, and this one with the spider on it is an Indian ink, and it says on it that it's indelible or it's waterproof whenever it's dry. So I'm going to be using also one of these like calligraphy pens with a nib. It's just a flat, like circle nib or a pointed nib. It's not a flat one that you would use for calligraphy. Now I've got the ink just above and I'm dipping the pen into the ink only as far as the little reservoir, the little hole in the nib. I haven't really played much with these pens and these inks, but I actually found it really quite easy. I was really pleasantly surprised, so I might do some more of that. Afterwards, I blasted the whole thing with a heat tool just to make sure the ink was completely dry, and then I went over the top with a soft eraser to get rid of any pencil marks. Now I've got my watercolors off to the side and I'm just taking a small palette, and Cat's Cat Misty is grey tabby. So I'm mixing some black with white to create some grey tones. And I'm going over all of this little misty cat with some grey tones. Now, what I really like about watercolors is you can layer up different layers of colour to vary the intensity, but then you can also mix it with more water to get a lighter tone. So I'm going in with a little bit darker. I've just mixed a little teeny bit more black into it, and I'm going around the outside to build up some more shadows. And then I'm going to go back in with some of the grey mixed with more water to do his belly. Now, of course, I hadn't obviously been thinking straight whenever I was drawing this because Cat's cat has only one eye. And I probably should have done a cat with only one eye, but never mind. Let's give him some stripes. There we go. So now that my cat is dry, I'm going to fussy cut the whole thing, and I'm not leaving a border. I'm going right the way around up against the edge, and to make it look a little bit more finished, I'm going back in with my Faber-Castell Artist Pitt pen, and it's got a brush nib, and I'm rubbing the brush nib all along the outside edge. And when you do this, it actually gives a really professional image and finish to the piece, and it also covers up any little snuggly bits that I may have not cut correctly. I've picked out some cardstock for the background of my card. It's a pinky red colour, and using a ruler I've sketched on some lines. Also using the Winsor & Newton ink. This is a red colour, almost a reddy pinky colour. I went back in again, and on top of the lines that I sketched, simply just wrote some words with my own handwriting, words that would strike Cat. Things like her playing with her Sharpie. She loves her Sharpie, she loves a to-do list, any sort of cat words. And I mean both kitty cat and also person cat words. I wasn't quite sure how this was going to turn out at the time, but when it was dry, the ink actually sunk into the paper quite a bit and it blended into the background, and it's really not meant to be red, it's just meant to be tone on tone to have a little bit of interest. So now I'm going over the top once again with an eraser, and I'm going to use my stitched rectangle die to cut out a perfect rectangle, and I'm going to be mounting this on top of a top folding note card, which is 5.5 by 4.25. Now the background I don't want to be stark white, so I'm using some of this grey polka dot paper. This is from a My Mind's Eye collection, and I'm layering a piece of vellum that I also cut out using my large stitched rectangles die from Lawn Fawn. I'm sticking that on top of the background, and let's stick the polka dot paper on top of the card. And then the handwritten paper or piece will go there on top. I have a die here. It's actually a quick cuts die or a lifestyle crafts die, which is the little speech bubble, and also the heart is from a Lawn Fawn Hearts stamp set, or sorry, die set. But to add a little bit of dimension, I'm actually going to also cut the speech bubble using some funky foam or craft foam. Sometimes it gets a bit ragged around the edge, so I'm running the scissors along the back of it, and I'm sticking the funky foam on the back of the cardstock that I had already punched out or cut out using my Cuttlebug and the die. And now let's stick this onto the card. So there you have it. There's the final card. It's got a little kitty on it, and it's got lots of words about cat, and she loved it, which is great. So I hope you enjoyed watching the video. It's a little bit different from me, but it really was fun, and it gave me a really good excuse to play with my new watercolors. Thanks for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and you can see me over at Hungry Heffy Crafts for more crafty goodness. Bye!